Welcome to the Agent Upgrade Podcast with your hosts Jasmine, Krnjetin, and Alan Corey, where we learn the strategies of top producing real estate agents so you have the tools to upgrade your own real estate career.
Beautiful Tuesday. Good to see you, Jasmine.
Nice to see you, Alan. Always a pleasure.
It's awesome to do another episode of Agent Upgrade Podcast. And we are, full disclosure, it's spring break. It's spring break. We're both traveling. We are also had difficulty booking guests for this week, but we didn't try very hard. Well, we're due a vacation. You're definitely worthy of
worth of a vacation. Yeah.
How hard you work. And so we're going to do something that we've done in the past. I'm going to replay an episode from the House of AC that we think carries a lot of weight with real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get started with that, I want to talk about you've got some new things happening at Jasmine Mortgage Team that came out of a problem that we've all seen, and that is, hey, I can't win a bidding war, right? I can't compete with cash offers.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an FHA loan, or I've got whatever it is, 5% down, 10% down. How, do we just send our clients back home and say, wait, until, a year, 2, 3 from now? You had a genius solution that's been working really well. You want to share that?
Yeah. So I took the problem back with my team, and we kind of huddled, and we tried to reverse engineer our loan process to be able to compete with cash offers. And so we just basically took the whole loan process apart and put it back together to maximize the speed with which we can get you from we're under contract to the time you're sitting at the closing table. And so we have been able to squish everything down and get you guys to the closing table in 15 days. And that has been a complete game changer for all of our real estate agents, for all of our buyers, because now all of a sudden we are able to compete with cash offers.
Yes. That is amazing. 15 days closing, because if you even have a cash offer, it takes 15 days to close, because that's what a closing attorney typically needs. They need 15 days. And so if you can compete with that, there's no one who's speedier. Like you're the same speed as a cash offer.
Yeah. And it's been going over really, really well with the listing agents, with the sellers. I have seen several instances where we have been competing against cash. This past weekend, we had a client who not got one home under contract. He got 2 homes under contract. FHA buyer, one of them, there was 31 other offers. And literally the number 1 offer was a cash offer that was just a little bit lower than our 15-day FHA offer. And the seller actually took our offer over the cash offer. So, so it's been really, really, really impressive. Especially, I just feel like this is like a beacon of light for my first time home buyers, which we have so many of those people that are just like, looking into 2, 3, 400s. They have 3% down. And, what are you going to do when you're up against 48 other offers, 20%, 30% cash offers? It's been really tough, but this has been working really well, and I'm super excited for all of our people.
So, a question: how come other mortgage companies don't do this? Why is only Jasmine Mortgage Team able to offer the 15-day closing?
It takes a lot of work up front, and I think that most mortgage companies are not willing to put in the hard work that you have to go through to be able to go that fast. The team that I have, we have all been in the mortgage business 10, 15, 20 years. There is 9 of us on my team right now. And so the level of reviewing of documents that happens is underwriting level review. So when I give you a pre-approval, I no longer require a financing contingency, because we know what our underwriters are going to be looking for. We have fully pre-underwritten this file even before you get out of the gate. So that's why we know that we can shrink down that initial, okay, let's go into underwriting and then see how things are going to shake out. We just erase all of that, and we're able to move so much faster. So it's been, and it takes a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not easy. We have an amazing, an amazing team in place, and we're just, there is no room for error. We're just going really, really, really fast. But I find that it's actually a lot more fun.
So I just want to get all the questions out that agents are going to have, and I've used this product. My team has, and
Mhm.
with success. Most other mortgage companies, it takes 15 days to get the appraisal back. So is that sort of what you're waiting on last minute?
No, actually, we have really, really good appraisers that we're using, and we get all of our appraisals back in 7 days. So that's been, that's another piece of the puzzle, right? We had to huddle, we had to figure out how many appraisers do we have, how quickly can we get, and what kind of level of service can we get back for our clients. So that's another piece, is like you get your appraisal back in 7 days, which makes a huge difference. You're not sitting around for 2 weeks waiting for an appraisal. Same thing with closing attorney, right? You can't just work with any closing attorney. You have to have a closing attorney that can turn title around quickly, and get that back to you within the first 7 days. Sometimes it takes a closing attorney 7 days just to figure out what the
Right.
heck, which property are you buying, right? So you've got to have, it's all about being on the team together. We can't have like some unknown entities in in the
Yeah.
mix, right? Like we've got to have, like, we know the appraisers that we're using, we know the title company that we're using, the closing attorney, the buyers are fully invested in, like, hey, day one we need A, B, C, D, E, right? And there
Right.
is none of that, like, well, I'll get that to you, 4 or 5 days from now, because that you just don't have that kind of luxury when you're going for a 15-day close.
Now, is there a catch? Does this a higher interest rate cost more money for the buyer or borrowers? Anything that's
No.
like, hey,
Mm-mm.
what's the catch here?
Nope, nope, no, no, none of that. None of that. It's just that, because we underwrite, we fund, we process all of our own loans in-house. We just don't have any red tape. We can just get everything done much quicker. So
That's the magic that you possess,
it's
Jasmine.
awesome. I
Yes,
love it.
and so
I
I
love
highly
it.
recommend this product, guys. It's really just a 15 days regular. You do FHA, you do conventional, jumbo as well.
Yeah, jumbo works as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
all right. 15 days, guys. Go win those bidding wars with your pre-approval letter from Jasmine Mortgage Team. Um, Before I hand off, I'm slightly embarrassed by this podcast that we're about to air. I was just a fresh, young broadcast, podcaster when I recorded this terrible, echoey microphone. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, but I feel like there's good information there. If you kind of put up with my nonsense until you, about midway through the show, join me and, bring down the house. All of my episodes on the House of AC get the most downloads when Jasmine makes an appearance, gets the most watches and likes. So thank you for saving my butt in this episode as well. Yeah, I think it's a great one for everyone to listen to.
Mhm.
And it's about building wealth through multifamilies, which I teach a lot and then talk about a lot, and wrote the book House Fire, which is a big part of that. And I always tell my clients, if I make you rich, I'm going to make myself rich. So that's what's in it for me is like, I'm not trying to sell you a higher product. I'm trying to sell you financial changes to your life,
Yeah,
financial freedom. So,
yeah.
if real estate agents have this knowledge, I think one, they should apply it for their own life. They're experts in the real estate field. They've got all the
Mhm.
connections. They know the contractors. They know the plumbers. All these things that scare everyone else. Hey, you're a real estate agent. You've got these contacts.
Yeah.
And I'm helping people who don't have these contacts be successful. So hopefully some of this is not just a business thing to sell to others. It's something you can apply to your life.
Yeah.
And if I've now put my book for free in PDF format on my website, The House of AC. So if anyone wants to read the book and they were just not willing to give me $15 on Amazon, your day has come. Your day has come. It's free PDF on thehouseofac.com right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's super generous of you, Alan. I know you spent a lot of time during COVID writing this thing, so thanks for giving it away.
Sure, sure. So with that being said, guys, thanks for checking it out. And I think you'll enjoy the episode. And if you're sitting there with nothing to do, follow Jasmine Mortgage Team, follow the House of AC, and more importantly, the Agent Upgrade Podcast on Instagram, on TikTok, and YouTube. All of our channels, Facebook page. Like, come on, give us some love. We want the feedback. We see you out at restaurants and bars and coffee shops. You're like, I like your podcast. I'm like, you have no proof of that. Show me the review that you wrote online.
Tell people that you love our show.
Yes,
So
yes. All right, guys. Thanks, and yeah. So we'll leave your review. We'll know what you think of it at the end. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
It's showtime, baby. Thanks for tuning in to Thursday's House of AC show. I appreciate it. Thank you to the people watching live. Also, thank you to the people who watch this later on my Twitter feed, Facebook, House of AC group page, or on my Twitch, in my Discord channel. I see those views. Thank you for tuning in later. I appreciate it. You're just as welcome to watching this later than you are live. Either one, I'll take it. I'll take your eyeballs. Feel free to like the video if you like it, if you're learning something. But just want to say today we're talking real estate. This is going to be real estate episode, real estate investing. This is a great one for first-time home buyers or possibly first-time investors, people new to the space. What's exciting about this program is that it combines something that's great for newbies with probably the best real estate investing vehicle you can actually come up with in terms of an FHA loan. I'm going to get into details why it's so great, and leveraging that into a multifamily. And so as a realtor, as a real estate investor, this is my true love. This is how I fell in love with real estate. The first time I bought a duplex, the numbers were just mind-boggling. And I've made it a pact to do it every single year of my life. I was going to buy another multifamily building. So I did that for 5 straight years, and I became a millionaire before 30. It's documented right there in a book called $1 Million by 30. There is a competitor book called $1 Millionaire by 30. Don't buy that one. You want $1 Million by 30. And I guess I get the slang. I'm a little lower tier. Kind of millionaire, but so $1 Million by 30, it's documented there. And I'm basically going to teach you the premise of what I did, and that's what this is. This what I'm teaching you is basically how you could be a millionaire in 5 years. Honestly, 5 years. All you have to do is use this sort of vehicle, buy a house in 5 years in a row, one property. Just set a goal. I'm going to buy one property in every year for 5 years. Now, you might not be a millionaire exactly at the end of 5 years, but over time, as you have tenants paying down those balances and you're getting some cash flow and house appreciation, it'll make you a millionaire. Just sit back and wait. You'll eventually become a millionaire. You don't have to. Not everyone wants to own 5 homes. They might be tuning out saying, that's too much work for me, and that's okay. There's definitely ways to have a property manager, to have it very passive. But today, we're just going to talk about one property. How to buy your first property, whether it's you're a homeowner that's going to live in the property or an investor wants to buy your first investment property. This is the vehicle, this is the tool to really, really understand the best way to go about it. Before we get started, I have a link tree here. Please join the Discord. My Discord, this is the forum. This is where everyone's going to be talking about real estate. I'm starting it up. It's new. It's sort of a ghost town. I admit it. But that's because I need you guys in there asking your questions when I'm not live streaming. So come and join and form a community. And I appreciate it. And Roberto, what's up, Alan? What's up, Roberto? This is the best advice ever for first-time home buyers. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. Roberto believes in the mortgage business, and he gets it. He gets it. I get it. Time for you to get it. So definitely want you to as a first-time home buyer, to understand this program. Okay. All right. I've hyped it enough, right? Right now I get to deliver. All right. Right. I've hyped it so much. Am I going to come through with the goods on this program? Well, let me tell you. Let's talk about it. All right. So if you're a first-time home buyer, this, as a realtor, they come to me and this is what they say. Hey, Alan, my dad said to put 20% down on a property. And now I don't want to pay PMI. And then they'll say, oh, I listened to Dave Ramsey. I shouldn't have a mortgage. But if I do, I want to put 20% down and have a perfect credit score. Or, hey, my mom says that, better safe than sorry. You don't want a high mortgage payment. So You want to put down as big a payment as possible. So maybe even more than 20%. I know you get the best rates at 20% down, but if you put 25% down or 30% down or 50% down, then you can save more because your mortgage payment is lower and lower. And I got to I got to break the news to you. All that advice is idiotic. Terrible advice. And I know it's coming from well-meaning people. Your parents, your friends, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents. Everyone thinks that's the best way to buy real estate. And it's the worst. It's the worst way to buy real estate. So I've got to educate. I got to get out there and educate people. I've got no skin in this game. It's just how I built wealth, and I think you should learn how to do it this way and build wealth. I'm going to show you spreadsheets and show you the numbers to compare the two situations and why it's such a great vehicle for investing. So let's get started. All right. So first of all, an FHA loan is no different than conventional loan. Really, it's backed by the government. Fannie and Freddie, you'll hear these words. These are government entities that say, hey, we're going to give Americans home loans because it's great for the economy. If people own their own house, they're invested in the neighborhood, there's some stability, and the government will lend you cheap loans, okay? Conventional loan, it just has different rules. Conventional loan says typically you have to put 5% down payment to 20 on up. You can put 75% down, but it's most mortgage rates, most quotes, most homes are conventional loans. That's the word conventional. This is the special of the day every day. We're just going to get a regular loan, put down somewhere between 5 and 20% down payment, and then we're good to go. Now, FHA said, hey, not everyone fits in that boat. Not everyone can afford 5% down payment. Not everyone has the best credit score. So we're going to create a loan program to kind of boost up maybe this other class of buyer that maybe has a lower credit score or that can't save up as much as down payment. A lot of times you have a high income job right out of college, but you have tremendous college debt. So all your money is going to paying off student loans. So you don't have enough money for a down payment. You don't have to have bad credit. You could have enough to put down 20% down and still use the FHA loan program that's 3.5% down. It's great for first-time home buyers, but you can also use it if it's your second, third, or fourth purchase. The only caveat is you can only have one FHA loan at a time. So one strategy that you could use is you purchase a home with an FHA loan, 3.5% down payment, fix it up, raise the rent, increase value, do a refinance to a conventional loan, somewhere between 5, 15, 20% down. And then now you have unlocked the FHA loan badge again, and you can go get another property with an FHA loan. And the best properties to buy are small multifamily. So the FHA will lend on a single family home or a condo or apartment in some cases. It has to be approved by the condo board and the townhome community. So if there's if you're shared building, your shared walls and stuff, you're going to have to ask that you guys allow FHA loans. But on a whole, single families are fine. Duplexes are fine, which is 2 units. It doesn't matter how big the units are or not. You just have to live in one side. Triplexes, same sort of situation, and quadruplexes or fourplexes also qualify for an FHA loan. So that means you can buy a small multifamily with just 3.5% down. Okay, so I promised to show you a spreadsheet and the numbers, and this is where things are going to click. This is where it's going to click. So check it out, and away we go. All right, how most first-time homers think. Well, I've saved up, let's see, I don't know, $20,000. Should I do with my $20,000? I've got money in my 401k, my IRA. I need to buy a house. My rent keeps going up. Why do the rents keep going up? Because landlords keep having to pay higher and higher prices for homes, and the way that they make money is raising the rent. So I don't see rent prices stopping unless you live in a rent-controlled community. And so if you think renting is going to be cheaper in the long run, your mind's going to be blown right now as I walk you through this spreadsheet. So let's say you have $20,000 saved up. You can buy a house for $100,000, right? What that means is 20% down payment. This is what my well-meaning parents told me. This is what Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman told me to do. And every other financial talking head says, hey, put down 20% down payment. It's the safest bet in the world. And to me, it's the most risky bet. And just you'll see why I think it's riskier. Putting 20% down here, you now can buy a house for $100,000. 20,000 is 20% of $100,000. Your mortgage balance is $80,000. And so as we look here, let's put a dollar sign in front of that. Okay, 30-year fixed rate. I would always recommend a 30-year fixed rate. I don't care if this is your primary, an investment property, or anything. You always want the longest term possible. If they offer you a 40-year fixed rate, take it. Some loan programs do that. You want to spread out the loan payments as far as possible to fight inflation. It'll just feel so cheap. It'll get cheaper and cheaper as you go, as the prices of everything else go up, but your real estate debt goes down. And that is why the national debt will never be paid off. There's no incentive to just kick the can down the road, because as U.S. dollar has less buying power, your debt actually will feel like it's getting cheaper. So that's the same principle here. 30-year fixed out, push it all the way out. Interest rates right now, you could probably get it lower than 3.5. It really depends on your credit score, but I've seen some that are 3.25. Jasmine from Jasmine Home Lending was on the show yesterday, and this was sort of her interest rates. These interest rates changed multiple times a day. So just know that. Like, it can change twice a day. It can go up and down. So whatever I'm saying today, fact check it, but it's going to be within 0.5% of this if you're watching this probably sometime in the next 3 months. All right. In this scenario, your mortgage payment is $359. That feels really cheap to me, but I got to fact check this. Google mortgage calculator. Did I do my Excel spreadsheet correctly? $100,000 loan. Oh, that's because it's an $80,000 loan. Yep. At 3.5. Oh, sorry, guys. 3.5. I just want to fact check my numbers. So I know. Okay, 359. Is that what we had? Yeah, 359. Okay, great. My Excel Ninja skills worked for me 5 minutes before we went live streaming. I appreciate. Good job, AC. All right. Now this would be a $359 payment. Okay. I'm going to run through a couple scenarios. So this is a $100,000 purchase price, $359. I just want to document what we did here. It's not. Oh, 359. Is my font the wrong color? Is that what's going on here? Yeah. Okay. So this is 100K house. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know there's way more efficient ways to do what I'm doing, and it drives me nuts too. All right. So 100K home, $359 payment. Okay. Now let's say that we have $35,000 saved up. That could buy you a house for $175,000. 629 is your payment. So if we're buying a $175,000 house, that's a $629 payment. And let's do, $50,000 saved up. Okay, you can buy a house for 20% down payment, $250. Okay. $250, and this payment is $898. Okay, so safe bet. This is what your parents want to do. This is what your parents also did, which is also why your parents are not rich and wealthy. So you're going to flip that in your little generational line in your family tree. You're going to say, Dad, Mom, I know more than you. I listened to the House of AC. So what do you know that's better? Well, let's think like a home, how wealth builders think, how I think. Okay. So in this situation, let's say you got money saved up. What was the first one? I think it was $20,000. With an FHA loan, 3.5% down buys you $571,000. Oh, of a house, right? Much different than when I switch this back to 20,000. You can only buy $100,000 house. Okay, so all of a sudden you've leveraged that $20,000 almost 6x. You know, 5x and some change here. Instead of buying with $20,000, $100,000 house, you're buying a $571,000 house. Now you might be like, whoa, why would I want to do that? I'm going to get in so much debt, and the market's going to crash, and I'm going to be over leveraged, and well, don't worry, it's still a 30-year fixed rate, same interest rate, 3.5%. Your mortgage payment's $2,500. Okay, you're like, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. I can only afford a $359 payment. Why would you want me to try to buy a house with $2,476 payment? When I did this, I couldn't afford it either. But I'm going to show you the magic, because this is what you would want to buy, a small multifamily. It doesn't work. This scenario doesn't work on a single family unless you sort of rent out your bedrooms. So if you buy a 4-bedroom house, this would work on a single family house. Or you could buy a duplex or a triplex or a quadruplex. So you would have to have roommates in your own home, or you can have tenants in a multifamily house. So there's 2 scenarios to play this out. So let's consider if you have you rent out a master bedroom of your home, or you find a quadruplex that has 4 units. Let's say you can rent this out $500, and you have a smaller room that you rent out for $400, and another room similar size that's $400. There you go. Your mortgage payments $1,176. That's for you to live in your own homes. But maybe you're in the master bedroom here, and you're like, is it worth it to me? No, I can rent out the master bedroom for $1,200, and maybe if I throw in, do some upgrades or something, it's I can get $650 per room, $650 per room, and then now you're getting paid $24 a month to live in a secondary bedroom in your single family house. That's the beauty of this. You have no mortgage payment, right? You're actually getting paid to live in your own home. Can you think of a more passive job than to be paid to live in your house? But let's make the scenarios not so rosy. Let's bring this down to maybe 800. There you go. You can only find a roommate for 800, and another roommate for 650, and another roommate for 650. Then your mortgage payment, you are responsible for 376. But guess what? Up here, you're basically paying the same thing, and you have no roommates. And you might be like, that's the dream. I don't want any roommates. But look at the scenario here. If you just stay the course, right? You're responsible for this entire mortgage payment. You're responsible for the roof if it needs to be replaced, a hot water heater if it needs to be replaced, any sort of maintenance items, right? And you got debt. This is just going to happen. $359. Over here, same thing. You're still responsible for the roof. You're still responsible for the hot water heater and shoveling the snow in the driveway. But it's all in one house. You just have more roommates, and you have bedrooms. So this is a great way to offset that mortgage payment. And just think of it this way: you're making more money. So right here, you're only responsible for $376, but these guys are paying down your mortgage balance each month. This money, $800, $650 goes down to paying down this mortgage balance each month. So you're probably going to be pocketing an extra $300 in this scenario, but based on them giving you money to pay your mortgage, you pay your mortgage, and you're paying down the principal line. So you're building equity in your home each month. And if you just sort of play this out 30 years in the future, well, then you have a paid off house that's $100,000, and you paid $359, or you have a paid off house that's probably worth way more than $571, but at a minimum $571 is paid off, and you had help along the way. So either I've got you with the roommate situation, and you're like, that clicks with me, or you're saying I don't want any roommates, and then that's what the small multifamily is great: the duplex, the triplex, quadruplex. And I'm going to go show you some real quick. On the FMLS, the listings to match. And then this way you're not sharing a bathroom with anyone. You're not sharing a kitchen with anyone. These are little small apartment buildings. And I promise you, it's so easy to be a landlord. Like this you can do this multiple ways. You can hire a property manager, even though you live in one unit, and they will handle the tenants and everything. That's very common. A property manager will take 10% of the rental income. So if this was a typical quadruplex situation, and they would, let's say you could rent each unit for $800, they would make $80 here, $80 here, $80 here each month. So they take 10% off the top, which is the relationship you want, because they're incentivized to get you the most money possible, and they're incentivized to not have it vacant because they don't get paid if it's vacant. They take 10% on top as well. We got a question real quick by Julie. Mortgage insurance. I think you're referring to private mortgage insurance, which is an extra fee that comes in when you pay less than 20% down, and that's true. So maybe we can add an extra $100, $200 to these scenarios, and we'll work those into your numbers. To me, it's okay. The numbers are so great and so in your favor to walk down this path. Mortgage insurance doesn't make or break it. Think of it this way: you're borrowing money at 3.5%. I'll borrow money at 3.5% all day, any vehicle. If guy off the street, the neighbor says, Alan, I'll lend you 3.5%, a mortgage lender, a bank, I'll take it all day. And that's basically what you're doing in mortgage insurance. You're borrowing money at 3.5%, because I can take that 3.5% money and put it in the stock market and do nothing. Put it in some mutual funds, VT, SAX, Vanguard, mutual fund, and that'll earn me between 8 and 10%. So borrowing money at 3.5%, earning 8%, I got a 5% delta. I would do that all day. I could take 3.5% or borrow that money. If I have some risk tolerance, put it in some cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. To me, that's good leverage, but there's risk associated with it because it's so new. You can do so much. I can go buy another house. It gives me more down payment now. Imagine I had 3.5% that I only have to bring down. That gives me more down payment to go buy a second home or a third home to redo these sort of scenarios. I want to do another number here. So let's say you've got $35,000. Now you can buy a house for $1 million, right? Up here, you come to me and say, Alan, I've saved up $35,000 and ready to buy my first house. Well, I can go show you homes for $175,000, and your mortgage payment is going to be $629. Or I can show you $1 million multifamilies with a mortgage payment of $433. So I promise you, a $1 million property, you're going to get 1,000 minimum. And I'm going to pull up some listings, and then you're paying $1,333. And that might be too rich for you, and that's fine. You don't have to buy $1 million, but you do have the ability to buy $1 million dollar home. Can you believe it? You have $35,000, and you think that you can't afford anything. You think you're broke, and the government's saying you can afford $1 million home. Just make it happen. Get there and make sure the numbers work, right? So these numbers wouldn't work. I would need maybe 1,400 here, 1,400 here, 1,400 here, and now I'm paying $133 to live in my own house. That's great. That's cheaper than the $629 to buy a $175 house, right? And so let's say there is a vacancy 1 month, and so then I have to pay $1,533 1 month. And you budget this in, and then the next month you're covered, right? So it may balance out with the mortgage insurance and taxes and stuff. It all works out. You run the numbers, yes. So Christine says, don't forget about property taxes. Agreed. And you just put it all in this spreadsheet, right? So I can add. Let me do this. Mortgage insurance. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's very cheap. It depends on the loan size, but let's call it $100 a month. That's probably too rich. If Roberto's with us, maybe he can still confirm. Maybe it's $50 a month. It depends on your mortgage balance. And what's the other one? Property taxes. Yes, we can work that in. And usually it's 100. Well, it depends where you live and what city, but it's I pay on my quads, I pay $2,000 a year, so that's like $50 a month. No, 2,000. divided by 12. What's that? And I know you guys can do this in your head, but is where I struggle. 160 bucks as property taxes. At least this is an Atlanta market, mid-sized city. Okay, yours might be higher, yours might be lower. You just plug it in the spreadsheet. Okay, all right, that's all you got to do. This tells you whether it's a good buy or not. Okay, so let's look at the listings, and then that will tell us, right? We're going to switch over to the listings here. I did a quick search in Atlanta. I'll show you my search. I did active or active under contract. There's only 3 to choose from. Over $800,000, 3 or 4 units. That's all I search in Atlanta right now. There's 3. Okay, so you got to move fast on these. But this seems like a great home, a triplex, 15th Street. Doesn't need any work. From based on the photos, I've never been there. I don't represent this listing. This is all my knowledge of it right now in real time with you. This looks like a cheaper countertop. That's probably where the tenant grade apartment, but a tenant's not going to complain. This is in a nice part of Atlanta that's growing rapidly near college campuses. So you get the idea. It's a little triplex, has 3 units, and wow, good sized backyard. So there's a door here, probably for 1 unit. There's a door here, probably for 1 unit. And I imagine one the front door, unit C. Okay. Now this what I like about this listing is it actually tells you, all right, $975 is the price, asking price. And it already tells you what it gets in rent. Okay. So there's 1 unit. Can you see this? Yeah, I think you can see this, but let me make it bigger. We're going to plug this one in our numbers. This is where the owner occupies. Wow, they probably get the best one. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. My advice, the way I did it, is I never took the most expensive one. I rented that one out. But in this situation, you could. They rent out the 2-bedroom, 1 bath already for $1,400, and they also rent the other 2-1 for $1,600. So maybe it's bigger, maybe it's got higher end upgrades, more sunlight. I don't know, or maybe this is an older tenant and they haven't raised their rent in a while. But those are the questions that we can ask. So $1,400 for one and $1,600 for the other for a $975 house. We're going to go back here, $1,400 here, $1,600 for the other. It's only a triplex, so you have to pay $1,300. Now, what I would do is the owner suite was obviously more expensive. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. It's got an extra bath and it's got an extra bedroom. Let's assume right here this one gets $700 a bedroom. This one gets $800 a bedroom. Let's say we can get $700 per bedroom. Make this $2,100. $2,100. That's we're going to rent out the owner suite, and we're going to take the cheap one. All right. Let's put a little $sign for this. Okay, great. Now we're going to add in mortgage insurance and property taxes. Wait, I did something wrong. Oh, the other one's rented. $1,400, right? What am I missing? I'm living in 1 unit. One's $1,600. One's $2,100. Okay, I need to do it this way. And my numbers, some of that. Yes. Okay. Nope. Sorry, guys. Numbers are this: mortgage payment minus unit 1, minus unit 2, minus unit 3, 633. Okay, this looks great. Now, for the people who are freaking out, wait a minute, $50, 166. I got to add those in. Okay, fine. I'm going to tell you, it costs you $633 plus 50 plus 166. Now, $850 to live in $1 million home, and you can get to have a roommate if you want, because now you're living in a 2-bedroom. It's not a 1-bedroom, or maybe you have an at-home office. But to live in a major city and pay $850, that's amazing all day. Like, why would you not do that? Especially if you could get a roommate or I've done this. You can pay parking, right? All 3 units, you get an extra $100 if you want to park on the driveway, and I'll park on the street, right? There's 3 parking spots, $100 extra a month, $300. There you go. And then maybe you have a garage. You can charge for storage. If you want extra storage, $50. And then you get this little, you just make it so that you pay much cheaper. And $283 here is what it costs for you to pay in $1 million home, and it only costs you $35,000 down payment. And we've got more questions. Julie, great questions. What about to qualify for a $1 million property? Let's see here. Okay. And Christine says on a $500 loan with 3.5% down is approximately $350 a month. Great. So we got some some data points here to work with, and I'm going to answer those questions. To qualify for $1 million property. So this is what it takes. FHA loan limits, which allow for the 3.5% down payment, are based on the limits. The amount of loan that they'll give you is based on the size of your city. If you're, let me zoom this in. Here we go. Low cost of area. So if you're in a small town or a third tier city, I don't know the definition of that, but FHA has definitions of that. For a 1-unit single family house, you can buy $420,000. Mid-range is a mid-tier city. Atlanta, Georgia qualifies as a mid-range city. High cost of area. This is probably your New York, your LA, your San Francisco's, things like that. Probably maybe Chicago. And then if you're in sort of where military bases are, or islands, Alaska, Hawaii, Guam, Virgin Islands, that's this. But that's single family. Well, we don't care about single family. We care about multifamily. So here you go, low cost. To buy a 2-unit, your max limit on a loan is 538. So your 3.5% can go above that. So that'll probably get you to about 545, and a 2-unit, 3-unit, 650, 4-unit. This is small, low cost of area, mid-range in Atlanta. We're talking about Atlanta here all day, $1 million. You can qualify all day for $1 million. High cost all day. It goes up almost 1.5 million. Wow. You can buy with 3.5% down. That's amazing. So what does it take to qualify for an FHA loan? Here you go. Typically you need about 650 credit score for a conventional loan to get the best rates. Here, you only need 500 and higher, 580, right? 580 credit score or higher. This loan was created for people that don't fit the convention. So if that's you, then this is a loan for you. But anyone can use this loan. You don't have to be unconventional to use an FHA. It's open to anyone as long as you have no other FHA loan. A down payment of 3.5% or more, a debt to income ratio of 45% or less. So what they do is when you get underwritten for a loan to qualify, this is both FHA and conventional, any loan in general, they're going to say, how much debt do you have? How much money are you paying out on student loan debts, car notes, current mortgage payments? They don't really count your rent right now, but that would be one. The outgoing commitments that you have, that's your debt, and then they offset it with your income, and they divide debt divided by income. If it's 45% or less, boom, you're approved for a loan. They want to make sure you have stable income and employment. So if you switch jobs, that's okay, as long as it's within the same industry. Then it's considered that you have stable employment. You're employed in the same position over the past 2 years, the same career, the same industry, and that you have been employed for at least 2 years. It's a little bit trickier if you're self-employed. It still can be done. It's just more paperwork, a little bit more trickier, but you can definitely do it. So this is what it takes to qualify for $1 million property or any FHA loan. Okay, and that's. I promise you, it's a great program. Go get it done. Now let's go back to this scenario here. So those numbers look good. I haven't done any other searching here, but let's see what else we have in this list. This doesn't work. I looked at that one because they're all sort of a package deal. It's like multiple homes in a row. But I didn't see this one. St. Charles Place. This is in a great part of town in Atlanta, right by the park. This is also a triplex. Wow, look at these numbers. Boom, boom, boom. It's obviously more expensive, 1.25, and it's under contract. Let's look at it on the spreadsheet, though. I'm going to take the 2 most expensive ones. We're going to live in the cheapest one. So that's basically $5,000. $2,500 here, $2,500 here, some change. Back here. Rental income 25 and 25, right? And maybe we get some extra things. Wow, negative 667. That means I get paid to live in this house at 2,500. Okay, right. I know the price is wrong. That's what's going on here. So let's say We saved up $55,000. No, that's I'm trying to get it. The list price was 1.2. What was the list price? 1.250. That's what I'm trying to get to. So to accomplish this, I need 40,000. 45. All right, $45,000. I can buy a house up for 1.285 million. It's assuming that that's within the range of the FHA loans in a big city. Mortgage balance is crazy, and so is mortgage payment on surface. But we know 2,500 already. 2,500 already. Wow, I only have to pay 571. Sure, there's going to be some taxes and property taxes and such, and so we're up. You know, maybe this is out of budget for you, but this is a $1.25 million home. Oh, sorry, this is the math here. 787. Okay, insurance is going to be a little bit higher on this loan. This just feels too much. Property taxes, but just know, you don't avoid property taxes by buying a single family home. It's not quadruple the property taxes because you have the same size lot. Property taxes is a combination of the lot size and the purchase price. So it'll go up marginally because you bought a more expensive home, but your property taxes are not 4 times the original amount. And every listing has the property taxes. So you can get those property taxes and figure out what the monthly cost is and just plug it in the spreadsheet. This is not any calculus. This is just addition and everything like that. And we've covered this, DN Superfly, no PMI. Yes, there's PMI. That's why I've added it here. It's marginal and it's not something to be scared of. I'll take PMI all day if I only have to put 3.5% down payment, right? Here's, another way to look at it is, first time, home buyers, I want to buy a $175,000 house. Okay, say that's your goal. I just want to buy a $175,000 house. I've saved up $35,000. Let's do the math that way. Well, you only need to spend 5,000. Nope. Is it 7,000? It's too much. Okay, 6,000. Oh, what did I do? Oh, 6,050. All right, that's close enough. $6,050. So you saved up 30. Now you have 29,000 extra dollars. What are you going to do with that $29,000? Well, you could go use that now. Okay, now you got $29,000 to go buy a house for 20% down. So you can buy 2 houses. Well, at least do that. With that $35,000, you spend $29,000 to buy this house. You go live in that one. You put $6,000 on an FHA house. It's $172,000. Let's assume this is just a duplex. And let's say it's the smallest duplex. I have a duplex that I sold for $100,000 that got $750 on each side. So we'll just assume the same applies here, even though this is $172,000. $750, and here you go. You get paid $751 for this duplex, which covers this entire mortgage payment up top. It covers this mortgage payment. So by buying a second home with an FHA, that rental income will pay off your entire mortgage of your single home. So if you can't stand thinking about living next door to your tenants, then buy your own single family house with an FHA loan, and then you have so much money left over to go buy an investment property, or do the reverse. Buy it with a conventional loan and then use it an FHA loan. Now you have to use an FHA loan. You have to have an intention to move into the property at the time of close. So it may be better to do the reverse. Buy your single family with an FHA so that you can use your remainder of the down payment into an investment property. And if you do it wisely, this is the whole house fire book that I have right here. It pays off itself. One rental income pays off the other rental income. I'm going to do that strategy. I'm going to do that scenario again. I want to walk through that. I went through that really, really fast, but it's really, really important. Okay. Someone has saved up. Alan, I've saved up $40,000. I don't know how many people, 40,000, that may be too ambitious. Let's say $15,000. Okay, I saved up $15,000. I can go buy a house for $75,000. Okay, that's $60,000. My mortgage payment is $269. All right, I'm going to say, well, if you want to buy a $75,000 house, Money saved up. All right, let's just use $2,000 of that. What happens? Now you can buy, okay, let's use $3,000. Oh, that's too much. Okay. $2,700. Okay, great. You've saved up $15,000. Let's take 3.5% of it, the minimum down payment on an FHA loan. First, go buy a duplex. $2,700. Go buy your duplex first. You can buy a $77,000 house for $2,700, and let's assume it could be a single family or it could be a duplex, but you live in it short term and then you rent it out. You can always have one FHA loan. So you can live in the property and decide, hey, I want to go buy another property, and that other property would have to be a conventional loan, or you can refinance that property into a conventional loan and you can use FHA again. All right, $750. There you go. You're making $416, and you can add in whatever expenses you want. You're making $10. Free house. It doesn't cost you anything to own this house, right? But you still have. You told me you had $15,000, so we took $3,000 off the top of that. So now let's say you've got $12,300. You can still go buy another $61,000 house, right? And these exist. I own over 50 homes that are under $100,000, and they're within an hour's drive of Atlanta. So people think that you can't find homes that are under $100,000. They're everywhere. They may not be on your street. They may not be properties you want to live in. It doesn't mean they're not good investments. It doesn't mean there's not good people who can only afford rent of $500 in a smaller town, in the suburbs. Or there's a whole ecosystem of every single price point and level. You can be a good landlord and have good tenants that pay $500 a month, that pay $300 a month, that pay $5,000 a month. You can also have bad tenants that pay $300 a month. You can also have bad tenants that pay $5,000 a month. There's all types of people in every single price point. People are on their journey, working their way up the ladder, and we all have to start somewhere. I used to be the guy who used to pay $250 for a room in a house, okay? And then I was the guy who subletted in the projects of Spanish Harlem for $400. I was the only guy that didn't speak Spanish in the entire building of 100 units. And I was a good person. I always paid on time. I've worked my way up the chain, so people get scared and they're like, I don't want to do this. And it's really quite easy. You can have property managers manage it all. On January 23rd, I'm going to have a person on the show, Eric Hughes, who has 20 properties. He lives in New York. He has 20 properties in Memphis, Tennessee, all under $100,000, all managed by a property management company, and he's going to share his knowledge. So just stay tuned. It's so common. It's so common. Maybe it's not common to you because you don't have a friend that's doing this. I'm your friend that's doing this. It's common, and we'll walk you through it. But using that FHA loan at least once to purchase your one property, it's going to make you so much money. You can buy two properties. That's what I just demonstrated here. You can buy one property where the rental income pays off the mortgage of your other property. And this is where it comes down to risk, right? So everyone kind of, let me switch my view here. This is why. All right, sorry. So this is where it comes down to risk. Everyone says, wow, like more debt, that's more risk, that's more risk. I don't look at it that way. Many reasons. One, if I have long-term 30-year fixed mortgages, my debt is constant. The housing crash, sorry, turn off my phone here. Okay, all right. I'm going to start over, and this is important. All right, airplane mode. All right, risk. Let's talk about risk. People think more mortgages, more risk. I am teaching you the opposite. Back to your parents and Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey, who think mortgages is all about risk and don't do it and it's scary. All bad advice. Think of it this way: 30-year fixed, right? My expenses are going to be fixed for 30 years. Can you imagine signing a contract that's 30 years long at your gym membership? If you sign a 30-year gym membership, you would take that all day. Because what happens every January 1st, the cost of gym fees goes up, right? Or your Netflix subscription. Imagine signing a 30-year deal right now for $15 a month. Also, in any 30-year term on any service that I use, because I know in 2 years it's going to be $20 a month for Netflix, and then it'll be $25 a month for Netflix. Those are all expenses. Those are all debts that I'm paying and subscribing to. A 30-year mortgage is the same thing. It's going to feel like it's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, all due to inflation. It's the best inflation hedge is long-term real estate debt as well as cryptocurrency. So that's why I'm so jacked up about both these things. So that's one. So that's a great reason why you want 30-term debt, and you want as much debt as possible, because for the more debt you have, the more it's cheaper it's going to get. So if someone's going to make you pay off an asset that's $1 million over time, give it to me. If I can qualify for $2 million, I want to take it, because I want as much debt, long-term debt, as possible, as long as I could turn that debt into an asset and make someone else pay down that debt. That's the beauty of a duplex, a triplex, or a quadruplex. I mean, even a single family home that you rent out, someone else is paying down that long-term debt. So let's assume I put a tenant in there. I would run the numbers so I know what I can rent it for up front. Running the numbers just means, what can I rent it for, and what are my expenses are going to be? My expenses are going to be your mortgage, your property taxes, your insurance. I buffer maybe $100 per door, per unit, for maintenance. There's going to be some maintenance, maybe $100 for vacancies. There's going to be some vacancies. Really, the rule of thumb is 30%. So whatever your rental income, let's say $1,000, you can rent out a unit for $1,000. 30% of that's going to be either vacancy or repairs. So take $300 off the top. That's a good rule of thumb. That should cover you, right? And then that may be too conservative, but I'd rather be too conservative by numbers. You take all those expenses, 30% off the rental income should cover all the expenses for you. That's property taxes, the vacancies, the property manager, things like that. And if that income is higher than what you're paying in fixed debt, just let it run. Let someone else pay off that debt. Even if you're making $50 a month, great. You're making $50 a month, but someone else is paying down $1 million asset for you. And then in 30 years, you do nothing else. You never raise their rent. You've got $1 million asset that's completely paid off. But you're going to raise their rent. It's going to be more expensive to get the landscaper out there and the plumbers out there, and rent's going to go up because everything goes up. Rent always goes up. So you're going to make $50 on year one a month, and then year two you're going to make $75 a month, and then year three you're going to make $100 a month. You're going to be making more cash flow. And then what I do, the house fire way, right here, I look at every single expense that I have. What's my cell phone bill? It's $150. Okay. Can I buy a lifetime supply of internet access or phone access? No, I can't. Right? My phone carriers will change and they'll raise the price on me and the package, but it's roughly going to be $100 to $150 a month. And then I will buy a property that, $30,000 down, go buy a $100,000 property that makes me $150. That $150 pays off my phone bill. And we go from there. And I'm going to invite a guest here. Hold on one second. Jasmine from Jasmine Team is going to join us, and she's going to talk about these loan programs, because that's really important. So here you go. I'm going to send her a link. And let me reply here. Sorry, guys. Okay. So then I effectively have phone service for free, right? For $30,000, I bought a house, $100,000 house. I put 30% down. I didn't follow my own advice. I put too much down, but it makes me $150 a month. That $150 a month pays my phone bill for life. I have no phone bill for the rest of my life because my tenants are going to be paying this mortgage down for me, and I am going to make $150 a month. Now, guess what? In 2 or 3 years, that might be $200 a month. And then I get to take $150, it goes from my phone, and now $50 goes to my utility bill. And so I use a house for every single bill. FIRE stands for financial independence and retire early. And this is how you do it. And Christine gets it. Normalize real estate investing, right? And there's nothing bad about renting. Not everyone wants to be a homeowner, but if you're a real estate investor, it doesn't mean I'm taking advantage of you. I'm giving you a quality product, and I am I want to be a good landlord. And honestly, I've gotten to the part where everything is property managed. I don't even know who my tenants are. I have no idea their contact information. They don't know who I am. I have no idea how to reach them. All that's the beauty of a property manager. They handle it all for me, and it's really, really normal, right? Everyone's got to be a renter sometime in their life, and so that's the beauty of this all. I am going to do one more thing. Okay. I'm happy to answer all the questions you guys have. So thank you for tuning in. This actually, you've been great at providing feedback here. And I'm going to introduce a partner of mine. Hey, Jasmine, welcome to the House of AC.
Hello. Thanks for having me on today.
So then this was a common question. We're talking about FHA loans and things, using them to buy multifamily, which you've helped me do and many of my clients. And I just want, well, the number one question is mortgage insurance. Well, what's the way to calculate mortgage insurance? And is that a deal breaker on these FHA loans?
Yeah, so mortgage insurance is going to stay on, and it's basically it's 85 basis points a year. So basically, if you have $100,000 loan, then you're going to be paying times 0.85%. So that means you're going to be paying $850 a year divided by 12. So your monthly mortgage premium is going to end up being around $70 per month.
On what size loan?
100,000.
Oh, so $70. So every $100,000 you borrow, it's $70.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 85 basis points is
Okay.
the formula that we use for mortgage insurance for FHA loans.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I put the banner over your face. This is Jasmine Home Lending. JasmineHomeLending.com or JasmineTeam.com. And she can run these numbers for you and tell you what the property taxes are going to be, situations like that. She's helped me. I'm successful because of Jasmine, so that's why I'm so loyal to her. And I want you guys to be loyal, to be successful as well. We qualify. So, we had a question. What does it take to qualify for an FHA loan? Anything special? Like you have to have a high income, well, let's say $1 million property, which is a quad.
Yeah. So the interesting part about qualifying for a multi-unit is that you don't necessarily have to have all the income on your own, because the rental income from each unit is going to help you carry part of that mortgage payment, right? So if on your own, you can qualify. If you're just buying a single family residence, your primary residence, you can afford, say, a $250,000 home. That could very easily translate into a $750,000 mortgage on a quad if you say $1,000 or $1,200 for the other units as your rental income.
Let me repeat that. This is very, very important. So people are like, I only make, after my bills and everything, I only have $500 a month. There's no way I can afford $1 million home. No way I can get approved for a loan. But you're saying if I buy a quadruplex and 3 units, each get $1,500, $1,500, and I'll live in 1 unit, you're going to look at them and say, oh, no, you make $4,500 if you buy this property. So, yeah, you can afford this loan because we're going to take that $4,500 and apply it to your debt.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes the FHA multifamily mortgage I think that's like the best hack out there. I feel like especially when you're younger and you don't mind sharing walls, right? I think it's a great way to get into real estate because immediately you could get in with 3 or 4 doors, not to mention that you only need a 3.5% down payment. Right. So we could get into a $700,000 property with, give or take $25,000. Which is amazing, right? You normally when you're looking at multi-unit properties, if you're talking on a conventional side of things, we need 20-25% down, right, to be able to qualify for a multi-unit. And with FHA, as long as it's your primary residence, it's just amazing. You could get into $700,000 home and not really have to make a lot of money and not have to put a lot of money down.
Okay, so we got a question here. Hey guys, I've been working with Jasmine, daring Danielle, but the duplex will need close to 100, 150K in repairs and will likely not appraise. So I'm going to answer this as a realtor, and then I want you to answer this as a mortgage lender. Okay.
Yeah.
So as a realtor, I would say, well, maybe this is not the deal for you. Maybe we use a purchase and renovation loan. There's a 203K or something out there that I'm sure you'll correct me on, that you can purchase and renovate it. If that's the FHA saying, no, we're not going to give you those repairs, then that's okay. Move on to the next deal. You don't have to buy a fixer-upper. This loan program might not be for a fixer-upper. It might not be best, but I'm curious what you have to say about that, Jeff.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a renovation loan, a 203K, an FHA 203K is something that could be used for this. You could also look at it with a conforming loan. You could also do a renovation loan on the conforming side of things. I find that renovation loans are a little bit easier when you're doing them on the conforming side of things versus FHA. 203K, there is a streamline, and there is a regular 203K, and there is some limitations on what you can and cannot do and how much money you can spend. So sometimes I find just going with a conforming renovation product is a little bit easier. You will need to have a little bit more of a down payment, but I would agree with you. It just depends. The part that I don't like about that comment is that it won't appraise. When you're doing an appraisal, it's going to be a subject to completion, right? So if you're paying $200,000 for it right now, and you're going to put $150,000 of work into it, it should appraise for $350 when everything is said and done. And if it doesn't, I'm agreeing with you, Alan, then we're not doing something right. We wouldn't want to buy that property.
Yeah. So 203K is just a different loan product. We've only been talking about FHA loans today and conventional loans in comparison. So there are other loan options. I said this before. If you're a real estate investor, it's how many tools are in your tool belt, right? And you can solve a problem with different tools. And then this is the problem here that's going to be solved with a different tool, a 203K tool. And that's just the name of the loan. And that's why you want to know as many financing options you have, because those are all different tools in your tool belt. And so line up with a great lender like Jasmine at jasmineteam.com, and she's going to give you all her tools. And no offense, Jasmine, but there's sometimes you need to go to a hard money lender that doesn't offer the tools that you offer, and you want to have a few hard money lenders in your pocket as well, so you can see how many tools they provide. And then maybe friends and family and there's commercial loans that you can get. They all have different tools, right? And partnerships. You want as many tools as you can to solve any of these problems. So my answer to Danielle would be, you're trying to use the wrong tool for the wrong product, but it doesn't mean give up. Let's try a different tool, or let's try a different product to purchase.
Yeah. And there is a time and place for those hard money loans, especially when you're buying an investment property that's kind of funky, that needs a lot of renovations. That could be if you have a relative, they're going to need a bigger down payment, I assume, but that could be a short-term financing solution that would be very good, right? That's the right way to use a hard money lender. And then you maybe keep that loan for 6 months, and then you come back to me and we refinance you into a regular conforming loan that's going to have a nice fixed interest rate long term that you don't have to worry about having to pay back in a couple of years. So I agree with you. Got to use every tool possible.
What is get back on FHA loans? Are FHA loans? I know they're a little bit higher to close. A little bit closing costs are a little bit higher. Are the interest rates different than a conventional loan?
Not significantly. They're give or take, they're about the same. They're in the low 3s right now as well. There is certain risk factors that can get layered on with FHA loans because FHA will lend to people that have significantly lower credit scores than conventional loans. So it does get more expensive. Like if you have a 580 credit score, the lender may have like a risk-based adjustment because it's a way higher risk to lend, $300,000 to somebody that has a lower credit score. So that interest rate can kick up if your credit scores are lower. But in general, if you have a good credit score, interest rates are going to be very similar. It's a little bit more it's, it's a government loan, so it's going to have, everything is gonna have to be documented a little bit more, like the 2-year work history, and there's a lot of rules around income and where the assets for the down payment can and can't come from. And like, for example, if you have a gift funds from a relative for your down payment, that's going to have to be documented to a point where you're actually going to need a bank statement from the relative showing that they actually had the money in their bank account before they transferred it to you. So just more documentation, but there is a little bit of a just because it requires some extra homework to get the loan. I feel that sometimes FHA loans maybe got a little bit of a bad rep, as being harder to close. And I think it's just a matter of working with a lender that knows how to do FHA loans. And then upfront, we just say, this is the documentation we're going to need. And we just get it up front and we lay everything out properly. Versus if you're working with somebody that doesn't do a lot of FHA loans and they're used to just going conforming. And then all of a sudden you get hit with one of the FHA guidelines and you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that we had to document all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes back to me, just, you can get into the property game with $5,000 and $10,000. Just hustle and script and scrape. $10,000, get an FHA loan. If you can buy a duplex, it's going to change your life. And we've got a question: any updates on changes for high student loan debt when applying for FHA loans? I just showed the screen where the qualifications seem to be 45% debt to income ratio. Do you have any other advice there, Jasmine, by chance?
Yeah, so FHA is still using 1% of the loan balance as your monthly payment. So let's say that you have $65,000 in student loans. That means that we're going to use $650 a month as a minimum mortgage payment for the student loans. And that is a little bit of a limiting factor with FHA, because on the conforming side, there is products that will allow us to use half of that amount. So it would be $325 that we would hit you with, as opposed to $650. But I do find that if you have a good credit score, that the wizard behind a curtain on some of the automated approval that happens in FHA loans will allow us to push those debt to income ratios higher even than the 43 or the 45. We've had some clients that have gotten approved even around 50. So FHA takes a lot of different a lot of different factors into account when they push through and give us the automated approval. So it's always worth trying.
Yeah, and my advice: people come to me, they're like, I'm going to buy real estate once I pay off my student loan debt. Once I pay off my car note, then I'm going to buy real estate. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to pay down this debt over 5 years, 7 years, and then you're going to try. Then you're out of money because you paid off all these debts, and now you're going to save money. And then, I promise you, house prices are going to be double, triple the price by the time you get around to wanting to buy a property. So I like to use the house fire method. Go buy a property now, any means necessary. Find rental income. Take that rental income to pay down your student debt. Right?
Yeah.
If I can buy a property that's earning me $300, then it costs me $30,000. Like car note's $30,000. Let's assume, and I've got $30,000. I've saved it up. Do I pay off my car note and get rid of that payment? No. Go buy a house. Put the $30,000 down on a house that makes you $300. That $300 pays off that car note, and then in 5-7 years, that car note's paid off because you've been paying $300 a month. You still keep your $30,000.
Yeah.
Right. The other way you pay $30,000, it goes to the car company. This way you keep your $30,000. It's an income generating asset. And this is what we want to say: normalize real estate investing. Take that money and pay off the car note. And then the beauty is 7 years when that car note's paid off, then you're like, what do I do with this $300? This $300 has been paying my car note for 7 years. Now it's paid off. Oh, I guess I'll spend it on myself, right? Or I'll student loan debt, or I'll apply it to my phone bill, or treat myself to a massage and a nice dinner, once a month. Like that's we definitely need to normalize real estate investing and not paying off all these debts. Like, don't go create debt. Only get debt that's income producing debt, the assets that and then use that to pay off your liabilities that are not asset backed, that's or losing money and losing value.
Yeah. And I think also I've had a lot of clients lately that are younger, that are just wanting to get into the real estate game, and they have been coming to me with their, like, me and my friend, we want to buy a duplex. Me and my friend want to get into a home together. And so I think a lot more people are getting to a place where people are not waiting to get married and then buy a house. It's like, hey, we're roommates. We're already each paying $1,500 a month to live in this house in the city. Why don't we just combine our incomes and combine whatever money we have saved up and go out and buy a duplex or a quad together? And then, and then you can do that for a couple of years. And then, after that, you can each buy your own primary residence, and have this still stay as an investment. So yeah, the sooner you get into the game, the better off you are.
And this is a common question, Daniel. You have a lot of questions, but it's good. Like, it's all your questions I've heard 100 times. That's why I put them up here, because it's over and over again. My fear with rentals are having maintenance costs that exceed the earnings. Okay, so you budget. That's what you budget for. So let me see if I can create let me share my screen and create a quick example here. Right. So you have a budget, right? Repairs, and that's $100 a month. So when you're analyzing a property, you're going to put in a spreadsheet mortgage insurance. You're going to put in a spreadsheet of property taxes. You're going to put in a repairs. You're going to put a budget of vacancies, right? Maybe it's $100 a month, and let's say $100 a month here. I usually do 1 month, of whatever the rental income is, Now, chances are, over time, you don't. Well, let's say you go a year without any repairs. Well, you have $1,200. This times 12 months, you have $1,200 in your reserves for repairs, right?
Yeah.
You have $1,200 in vacancy, which should cover at least 1 month's rent, maybe 2 months' rent. And so you just work these into your budget, and then if your cash flow is, when I say buy something that's cash flowing $350. That's cash flowing after you've accounted for vacancies, after you accounted for potential repairs, after you accounted for property taxes, after you accounted for mortgage insurance, all your expenses. That's what the cash flow is. So you already have a budget for repairs, and it's going to go up. And the same sort of thing. Your car expenses might go up. You buy a car, those car expenses might go up. And I feel like, unforeseen high cost expenses, i.e. replacing a roof or sewer pipes. Okay, this is all budget. This goes into this repair budget, right? Typically, the only time I have any sort of repairs is when a tenant moves out, because then I have to repaint it, things like that. But, there's all this, I guess, fear that you're going to go broke with repairs, but that's why you put the budget in there before you even buy the property. And if $100 is not enough, make it $200, and you have stricter criteria. But you also have home insurance. So anything with a tree falls on your property, or there's a flood backing up, flooded or something, you have insurance that's going to cover the big ticket items. But then another way to look at it, if you're living in this property, you've got someone who's paying that. So all these mortgage payments on top of your cash flow are paying down the equity in your property. So let's say in 3 years' time, 7 years' time, they pay down $10,000 worth of equity just by paying down the mortgage. And then you have to have $10,000 repair. You haven't lost money, right? You gained $10,000 over 3 years, and now you have to pay $10,000 to balance out the equity. It's going to be a long run game. And if this fear is keeping you on the sidelines, then, which is very common, it's not unique to you, Danielle. It's unjustifiable. The other way, that's why I say more properties, the merrier. So if I have 20 properties, that might sound scary to you, but then you have 19 properties cash flowing that's going to cover that major repair on house number 20. Right. And so the more you have, the more of a bubble, the more insulation you have. If you have a vacancy in 3 units, then 17 cash flowing properties will cover the vacancy for those 3 units until they're filled. And then when those are filled, you might have these vacant units. They're all helping each other up. So that's what I like about real estate investing. The more you can do, the better, and the lower down payment, the better. The FHA loan allows you to do a lower down payment. And I feel like I'm ranting. I apologize, Jasmine. I just feel very passionate about this. Before we wrap up, do you have anything else to say?
No, I love it. I think that it's the more knowledge you gain about the programs, the better off you're going to be. And I think it's just really, really important. Like you said, I think a lot of people stay on the sideline because of the fear, and that's understandable. And it's not, but at the same time, like, just scroll through your TikTok a little bit and you'll see all these kids. We bought this house, we put 10% down, we made $184,000 last year. Like, people are doing it. Just everybody is getting into the real estate game. And I think that being passionate about it is what you're really good about.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things before we leave. Yes, TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok now, the House of AC. So check that out. And like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. We do this show. I do the show every day, Monday through Friday, and Jasmine will join whenever we have a real estate topic around loans. I'll bring her in. The other thing I wanted to mention, it escaped my mind. It was you had a good point. I was going to piggyback off, but it was I think it was about risk. Another thing about risk is, I had a friend tell me a story yesterday. He's like, I don't want to get real estate investing because my dad had this bad situation happen to him on a commercial property, and the company went out of business, and then he had to carry this loan. And I was like, guys, residential real estate, which is what we're talking about here with this FHA loan, can only be used in residential real estate. Someone's always going to have a place to live, right? Like, a business may go out of business, may outgrow your space, may not have enough money to pay for your space, and then you have some vacancies. I promise you, if you have a decent place to live, this doesn't mean it has to have granite countertops and hardwood floors. Like, look at what your price point, and if you're matching what other people are doing, and it's a decent place to live, you will have very few vacancies. And then if you have a good property manager, or you're a good property manager, that doesn't mean bending over backwards. It means this is the rules in the lease. And every single question, we look at the lease together and say, who's responsible for the pest control? Well, the lease says you're responsible for pest control, but I'm responsible for the lawn care. So whatever the problem is, it's in the lease. It's not that, I'll do it this time and you do it next time. It's, what does the lease say? Hey, that's how I answer every question. That we've got a plumbing thing. Okay, well, what does the lease say? Well, the plumbing says that if you clog it with something that's yours, then you're responsible for it. And then, okay, and if it's not, I'll be responsible for it. Okay, what did the plumber say? Well, he found my set of keys in the drain. Okay, well, it's responsible for that plumbing bill, right? So these things sort of happen, right? And then, so there you go. That's it, guys. Thank you for listening to FHA loan breakdown. Thank you for clearing up everything for us, Jasmine.
My pleasure.
Yeah, you can find her Linktree. I have my Linktree right there. Just click on Get a Mortgage, and she'll help analyze these sort of deals for you, whether you're a first-time home buyer, any home buyer, or a real estate investor. And I'll see you tomorrow on the House of AC. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking my videos. Thank you for watching this now. We've got a lot of viewers. I feel bad I'm hanging up on you, but thanks for coming. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you guys with your questions. All the time. This is fun. I'm having so much fun doing this. I hope you guys are having fun watching.
Yes, we are.
Thank you for listening to the Agent Upgrade Podcast. If you are an agent looking for a new mortgage lender, start with Jasmine at jasmineteam.com. If you want to learn about real estate investing and working with investors, check in with Alan at thehouseofac.com. See you next time on Agent Upgrade.